Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to show number 161 here from downtown Mahwah, New Jersey, here from the Average Dining Room Studios of yours truly, Jimmy Palumbo. Of course, I don't even have a good 161. We'll call it the Roger Maris Show here at Shea.
There you go.
Of course, behind the glass, your friend and mine from the media capital of the podcast wrestling world, Dave Destruction. That's the way we're going to announce you from here on in. Obviously, I'm clear where my heart is right now.
Hey, listen, great game the other day.
So welcome to the show once again, Dave Sturcho. What's going on, man?
Oh, nothing, man. Just got back from Tiki Bar. We walked the sand. We started measuring some stuff out. It's getting real, man. It's 3 months away, so it's still a ways away. But we want to get all our ducks in a row. First and second row now sold out, so we're pumped. Things are moving. Things are moving.
All right. How much are the tickets?
Front row was 50, second row was 40, and then general admission, you're standing in the beach with everybody else, 30. So it's nice, decent chunk of change.
And you who's gonna handle all that? By the way, what a horrific way to start the show. not because of your gig, but Dave's doing this big ass wrestling thing, which we will down at the Tiki Bar on the Jersey Shore. It's gonna be cool as hell. We will be doing full. Matter of fact, I'll have you as a guest on your own on the show you already on.
You know what's crazy, bro? Nobody works. It's 75 and sunny, 80 degrees and sunny. Everybody's on the boardwalk right now, and I'm like, don't you people work?
I love it.
I'm gonna use a Jimmy Palumbo. I look like a boob showing up with on. By the way, everybody else is in their shorts and shit. I'm like, come on.
Yeah, I've been there many times, but we're gonna be doing a bunch of stuff about this wrestling thing. Who knows? Maybe I'll make a guest appearance on there. I should be there. Maybe I'll do some Bob Shepard for you there.
There you go.
But of course, at the start of this show, which once again, I don't think anybody starts the show the way I do. I'm like an old Ford.
It's a hot
once
start.
you get out on the highway, I get going. But it's always like all those people. I listen to the podcast. They're like, "Welcome to the Jimmy Palumbo Show," and then the guy, I'm like, "Hey, Dave, what are you doing?
How's it going?
Well, first of all, as you well know, at the top of the show, I have a stack of baseball cards here at Shea, and I grabbed the top one, and this is the second week in a row I have another one this is not how the show is supposed to go, but I learned a few things, I guess, about him a little bit, and he's a Hall of Famer. He played from 74 to 92. You definitely know who this fella is.
Team?
Expos.
Moises Alou?
A little bit of a trick question by saying the Expos. Elected into the Hall of Fame as an Expo here from the Omni.
Page? No, he played not Moises Alou.
74 to 92.
That's early, man.
He's no longer alive. He died at 57, tragically.
Oh, Jesus. No, I don't got it. It's gonna piss me off because you're gonna hit it, and I'm gonna be like, oh.
I'll give you the hint.
Okay.
He was a catcher.
Catcher.
I'll give you, instead of spelling it out like a bad Jeopardy game, whatever. He was called the Kid.
Oh, Carter.
There you go.
Okay.
Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter,
former president of the United States.
I'll tell you, he batted 345 with the Expos back in '89. Chopper gets through, and Jimmy Carter wants to talk it over here.
Gary Carter.
Yeah, Gary Carter. Here's his card right here. You know, I never want to do these stars. Everybody knows what Gary Carter is.
That's a Mets card.
He was with the Mets. I know, but
I'm saying you start talking about the Expos and shit, so it threw me off.
Listen, I didn't want to say Mets. Mets catcher. Jerry Piazza died last week. Yeah, right. There's three of them: Grody, Piazza, and Gary Carter. That's it. Everybody else. I think Gucci was a catcher for 2 years. I definitely caught one August. I got called up. I was like, I'll catch. I'll get behind it.
I got nothing else going
on. He played 19 years, Mr. Gary Carter. Batted 262, 325 24 ding dong. 1,200 RBIs. He never batted over 300. I was doing a little comparison with him and Munson. Munson didn't play as long as he did. It's tough to say. I guess Gary Carter he definitely had better stats, but Munson batted over 300 5 times. He only played 12 years, though. He came to the Mets, though, in 85, and he was, you got your Keith Hernandez, and there's a couple other players that were pillars for that whole Mets really good run there, Strawberry and Gooden and all that.
Doc Gooden.
But let's be honest. Gary Carter was the guy.
Yeah.
He was the leader, the face. Everybody looked up to him. It was a big deal. His first year, he batted 281, 32 home runs, hit a home run to win the game opening day. He played with the Expos, the Mets, the Giants, the Dodgers, the Expos. 2003, got in the Hall of Fame. Here's one thing you didn't know. He was the winner of the punt, pass, and kick thing in that Culver City, California.
Yeah.
That means he was got a full scholarship to UCLA, but got drafted by the Expos and decided to go. And he caught 127 shutouts. He caught a no-hitter. And he batted 280 in the playoffs. So that's kind of cool. He wasn't a shitty guy in the playoffs. But unfortunately, I guess he was around age 54, 55. He got some tumors, brain cancer, and he just couldn't beat it. They couldn't operate on him. So he died at 57 back in, I think, 2012. So about 12 years
I thought it was more recent than that.
Oh, yeah. So that's it. That's, listen, I could have looked up, but when they're this big of a star, I just got to say, listen, clearly was a Hall of Famer. Anytime a catcher hits 325 home runs, you got to put him in. And he was a good player. And all indications were the bullshit. I did my research. He had a shot of being a Mets manager at a certain point because he started to coach at different levels. He was actually, at the end, he was doing at the Long Island Ducks, but I don't know if he had the Mets ear, but there would have been a shot with the Mets turmoil and the Willie Randolph years. I think Gary Carter might have had a shot at managing the Mets someday, but I'm not a Met fan. I'm sure Mets were, oh no, he never had a shot, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But he would have had a shot. So that's my guy, Gary Carter.
I pulled a really cool card. I mean, his stats aren't all glamorous, but it's a 1994 trading card. So this is when they started up in the ante. Like, I know we have the Topps cards and they're just very basic. And by the way, I will shout out the video you sent me the other day. What's his name? Oh, Jesus Christ. Cliff Johnson. Great video. Yes.
I actually have a note. Just by the way, when my notes, it says Cliff Johnson. How funny is that? But that video, listen, everybody go. I posted it on my Facebook.
Go see it. It's very funny.
If you don't, I actually literally, and tell me if you agree with this, Dan. If you claim you're a sports fan or a baseball fan, we'll leave it at that. And you're over like your age and up, we'll say, and you don't think that video is hysterical, I don't think you should be on social media then.
Yeah, I know. You probably get your Facebook revoked.
Listen, if there was a competition of like battle of the Facebook posts, I don't know, man. You lead off with that. That's up there. I mean, I just like telling Barstool, like, hey, calm down. You have not had you have not had a Cliff Johnson moment. Yeah. But that video is just, I knew you were going to laugh at it. I did.
So my card is not Cliff Johnson, which is actually funny because that's the name of the video, not Cliff Johnson. It is none other. He played a little bit with the Mets in 1989, 90, 91. Went over to the Royals in 92 for just one season. And then he found a really good home with the St. Louis Cardinals. First baseman. You may know him. He's, as far as that's concerned, he's a 290 hitter. So he wasn't a bad baseball player. But again, it's a cool card because in 1994, they had reflector cards where it would change if you just moved it a little bit. This is Greg Jeffries. Greg Jeffries is the first baseman. So, yeah. I know nothing about Greg Jeffries.
90 hitter, though.
I mean, at this point, he probably played a little bit longer. So it's like he probably dropped a little bit, but still, right now he'd be making fucking $8 trillion with the Yankees.
$40 million a year.
Greg Jeffries, my guy.
All right. So Greg Jeffries, 290 hitter there, Shay. And of course, Gary Carter, which is always very fun to do. So that's our card thing, which I still love doing it. Some fans love it. Some fans are hitting the 10-cent second button here, Shay. But which brings us to, we are now listen, every once in a while I use the word mired, and we are mired in a Patreon slump. Fans are starting to file out. There's a little, the barometer is not steady. We may not get this one in. Fans are filing out. It's a 7-1 lead here in the 6th on a Sunday afternoon. If you're with the kids, time to skedaddle. I am mired. We're at 40 still, no 41. I can't believe, matter of fact, we forgot to do a post last week. We were going to do a post on Patreon. Let's do that. See if we can get a few other people.
Sure.
We're at 41. But a shout out to Jaybird, Janine Michaud, She always laughs at, usually she's like 2 weeks behind. She laughs at stupid shit we say. And she's also a sponsor of Chop Sports and all the shows you do and Premiere, whatever that wrestling thing is, which is awesome. And James Kanowitz, Carteret's finest. He another one. Like everybody, no one listens to my shows for like a month. My brother's now like 8 episodes behind. He just said we made a mistake with Randy Velarde. He just wrote
Randy
like
Velarde. That was
Randy
definitely
Velarde.
like
I'm
March,
like,
early March.
What is this? Like, how off is he? You know. And also Joe Sinecor, my boy up here. He's a listener. I saw him at an event. We were laughing about dumb things I say on the show. So a shout out to those 3, and of course, don't forget about ChasingMiracles.com here. Do you believe in chasing miracles? Isn't that what the guy said in the 1980 Olympics?
The guy. It's Al Michaels. Come on.
We call him the guy because, by the way, he looks like Biden. And there goes Sturcho with the jug.
The jug got a shout out on Facebook.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah.
You see that? We're creating magic here.
Yeah.
All 11 listeners here at Shea, they are
Jesus
dialed
Christ.
in right there with a young Randy Velarde here. ChasingMiracles.com. Go talk to Tommy and Donna. These patches, they work. I wear them every day. You wear them for 12 hours. You take them off for 12 hours. They're easy. They go right on. You put them down by your belly button in the back. You do it. Boom. It helps with stamina. It's a complete stem cell patch. You get it with inner repairing of your body. It's cool stuff. No needles. You can still pee in a cup. None of that stuff. A lot of athletes, Serena Williams, Michael Phelps, and WWE celebrities are involved there, which I don't think Mr. Sturcio knew about that here.
No, I did not.
And also my mother and her friends
Speaking of
use
celebrities.
Eileen Joan Palumbo, who now is back on Patreon after denying his son with a credit card issue. But we won't hold it against that, bashing my mother here. But so go check these things out. ChasingMiracles.com. There's also a bunch of other health things on there. If you're into this kind of thing, you got to check them out. Plus, Tommy and Don are cool, and they'll let you know what the hell's going on. So please go check that out. All right. We'll be brief here because we went a little long. We got to talk about your New York Knicks. First of all, they're the 2 seed, which I got to be honest with you. First of all, with the new playoff thing, so the playoffs start August 8th now. It's like, right?
Yeah.
It's like 17.
It's going to be a little while. It's going to be a little while.
I was told like a team that like from 9 years ago is in the play-in game. Like,
yeah.
So I don't get
listen, the new playing game is very participation trophy-esque to me.
Yeah,
I hate
but it's like all I do is root against the Lakers, and what the Lakers do, I hate it because I don't care what anybody says. Anthony Davis and LeBron James, it's almost like they don't really play during the regular season. They just get in.
They're healthy now, man. They're going to be a problem.
And listen, and the Lakers are going to the finals again. There's no doubt about it.
I can see that.
And the Knicks, of course. I heard something on the radio today, and it's true. The Knicks, one guy goes, you know what? The Knicks could so easily get bounced in the first round and also so easily go to the finals. And I'm like, I believe the Knicks have to get out of that first round to get the train moving.
That's what it is, man. We're going to draw either like the Miami Heat, and that last year, that's the one who bounced us.
Yeah,
or the Sixers. The Sixers would, of course, by the way, Joel Embiid misses like half the season, but don't worry, he's back for the playoffs.
He's back for the playoffs, right?
Perfect.
And the thing is, what I didn't like the other night, yesterday, first of all, and I'll be quick on this. The Knicks, Brunson,
MVP.
I posted something like I really honestly believe it, like the reason why Knicks, like you got Patrick Ewing, okay? You want to go way back, you got like Walt Frazier, got Walt Frazier, Willis Reed, and then you got Patrick Ewing. And anybody who mentions that other guy, Carmelo Anthony, when you watch Brunson, you go, oh, I forgot. This is what a star player is.
Yeah.
This is when a guy is the man. I think he's Jordan-esque, not in talent, but like he's the guy.
Leadership, yeah.
You absolutely had to you have to shut down Brunson. As a matter
At the end of the game, there was like a triple team on him.
Right. And I what I don't like is it's like, but he's not Jordan though. So something, hey Brunson, you got to give up the rock every now and then.
Dude, his dribbling reminds me sometimes of Randall, and I was going to throw my
he's incredible. He got stripped from behind it. The game was wild, but they really could have blew that game. And I'm glad they did. They wanted the 2 seed, but I don't think Knicks fans care. It's like, you know what? Start the damn playoffs. Bring on whoever.
It matters. It matters because you're guaranteed, if you get past that second round, you're guaranteed to host again in the second round of having home court until you get to the Eastern Conference Finals. So
I do get that.
Yeah.
of course. But be honest with you, with this Knicks team, I've seen them look horrific on one day, and then you're like, this team could beat anybody. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's all Villanova guys running around. So I got to give a shout out to Brunson.
DiVincenzo, a little Italiano.
Giancarlo Stanton's New York Yankees
Sucks.
are still playing well. But you know what? He's 2 for 4. A frozen rope in the ninth inning.
Here we go.
Right, let me tell you something. Stanton's batting 250, which to me, that's like he's Boggs, okay? The biggest problem is, what about the defense in the 8th, 9th, 10th?
All of a sudden, I say all of a sudden, but Gleyber Torres, man, Jesus Christ, like
Rizzo booting the ball all game, Torres booting the ball all game.
Yeah, but at least Rizzo redeemed himself with a big hit, you know, like
did, but like,
and so did Volpe.
Volpe was bobbling the ball, and he's hitting great. It was a bad one of those losses that, you know what it is? As a fan, and you know this being a Cowboy fan, Giant fan, there's always a little message that the gods of sports send you into your brain, like, hey, you know what? You're not that good. Because all it takes is an inning where everybody sucks, and they blew that.
So wait, not that anybody could see this, but this is a tweet from me yesterday, and all it says, you probably can't see it, but all it says is, that's a bad loss by the New York Yankees.
Yeah, it's a bad loss.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to get into some pickleball stuff later, but we actually have a wonderful guest here from the Omni.
Yes, we do.
But of course, all guests and all this part of the thing is sponsored by cornholelevel.com. Now, Dave, you have been struggling with your cornhole for so long now. Your wife's contacted me. I said, there's nothing I can do. It's a personal thing. But when you go to cornholelevel.com, if your cornhole board is not balanced in your backyard and you have a barbecue, you got to go to cornholelevel.com. Hook this thing right on your cornhole level right there. And it balances it so it's right exactly how the official, whatever the cornhole, CHBBALA, whatever the hell it's called, official sanctioned cornhole tournament. This board will be so level, it'll be perfect. I got my little Scarlet Knight thing on there. Go check it out. Of course, 20% off your entire order if you mention JP Show in the promo code. They're $19.95. That's a huge get. 20% off $19.95, bro. It's a perfect gift here at Shea. Go check it out. Longtime sponsor, Mike Caprio, my second baseman. And he replaced Mitch Fishman, which is a big deal, another legend at the Corona level. But that brings us to our guest. I guess you could pop him in. Second-time guest. He's been on our show before.
Has been. Welcome back, Mr.
And here he is. Ladies and gentlemen, stand-up comedy's finest, the guinea of all guineas. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Marino, welcome back to the Jimmy Palumbo Show. What's up, buddy? How we doing?
Thank you so much for having me on, man. I really appreciate it. This is the best.
Now, Mike's coming from Scotch Plains, downtown Scotch Plains, from the much better studios of Scotch Plains of Mike Marino. Now, Mike is a great comedian. I've performed with him. You actually gave me my first middle spot. I told you I could do 25 minutes, and all I had was a solid 7. I was like, all right. I felt like one of those pitchers in the minor leagues, like, I can go 8 innings. Next thing you know, in the 3rd inning, I was like, ooh, I got to go 4 more innings. Out in Corona, California, if you remember that trip.
Wow, you remember that? Holy
I do. Last time I had you on, I still got it on video somewhere. I got to find it. I got me and you on the show. It's pretty funny.
Wow, that's a lifetime ago.
Yeah, a lifetime ago. Like the shitty fuzzy video. I actually like watching that shit. Anyway, you're a stand-up. You perform all over cruise ships, LA, New York, whatever. You've been probably did stand-up in every state. But I got to ask you a few questions. That I think are for a performer. What was your first like TV show, your like regular TV show booking that you ever had, or the biggest one where you were like, oh shit, this is big? I have some notes here from IMDb, but I'm not sure if you even remember the timeline of it. But
yeah, I don't really go to IMDb too much. I guess I really should, because recently what I did was I sent home from California to New Jersey all these original masters of work that I had done back in the 70s and the 80s, because I'm sending it to that company called iMemories, and they take all your stuff and send it back to you, hopefully on a hard drive.
They will, yeah.
I never really think about it, and I'm glad that you asked that question, because looking at the DVDs that I have, I'm a lucky guy, man. I've been working in this business since I'm at least 16 years old.
Right. I know you. You did an episode of Frasier in 1999.
Yeah.
Do you remember how was doing that show? Because that was a big show back in the day.
It was, and I got to go on the audition like everybody else. And when I was at the audition, some guy said to me, try it like this, try it like that. And one of those blessings, you hit the home run, and then you go on the set and you're getting recognized as a comedian from the Comedy Store while you're on the set.
Right.
And everybody was really, really nice to me. And that was the first time I ever did a scene in the rain. So it was actually in the back lot at Universal. And they had those big square chains, those big things they put up in the air.
Right.
You rehearse, and then you hear that word, let it rain.
That's awesome. I've never done, you know what? I've never done a full rain scene. That's so funny. I don't think I have.
It's pretty amazing.
And then you did an episode of Becker, which was a Ted Danson situation. That must have been cool to work with him back in the day.
Well, I did a few episodes of the Frasier thing. It was supposed to be an ongoing bit, but only one of them aired. And then the same thing happened with Becker. I went on the show to do the Becker thing, and there was supposed to be a follow-up, but it didn't happen. But I did get the one episode. And, you know, when you're on major shows like that and you're done shooting at the end of the week and you take the applause break and you walk out in front of the audience, it's just the greatest feeling.
Oh, it's awesome. This especially when you're on a Universal lot, a Warner Brothers lot. Now, you were, in terms of showbiz, you were unbelievably way more than me, prolific in the commercial arena. As a matter of fact, I still laugh. You were in a commercial. It was probably the biggest one you've done. I don't know if it was the most financially rewarding, but probably. A United Airlines commercial as a soldier coming home. And I remember that commercial aired like all the time back in 84. So I was 20, 19. And it wasn't until I met you, because your hair was different back then and everything. And then all of a sudden you sent me a link. I did this commercial years ago. And I'm like, wow, wait a minute. Like, you're that guy. I want that spot. Like, my mother knew that spot. And I know it got nominated and stuff. How was it like? I mean, I really want to know now. This is sad. I know I know you got on the set and did a great job, but really, like, how were the checks that came in? Because that was back when it was channel 2, 4, 7, and 9 and 11. And it aired, you told me once, like, for like 3 years or 4 years or something. 5 years. So that's how you bought the house in Scotts Plains.
Belmar.
Oh, Belmar. That's right. We're going to get to that in a second. So those checks must have been like, you were making a living off the commercial. That's unbelievable.
Yeah. You know, the story is I was 18 years old and I was studying at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York. And you were told while you were in that school, you can't work as an actor. They'll kick you out of school, because they wanted you to be the finished product of the academy. And TV commercials is the lowest form of acting, they said. But I wanted to work so badly. I had already done a series of commercials. I've worked with some big directors at that time in the commercial realm.
Right.
But I had a bunch of friends telling me that they were going on this audition for a commercial called The Green Marine. It's for United Airlines. It's going to roll out big. It's the first time they're going to make $1 million commercial. And I didn't have the audition. But if you remember, you could crash an audition if you knew where to go. So I crashed the audition. I put my name down. I just picked an agency out of the top of my head and wrote down Joe Jordan Talent. I didn't know that they were actually looking at real Marines, so I kind of got away with it. And when I got the call back, the agency called me and said, well, who are you? And I says, I'm friends with Greg Connolly. He had the audition, so I just went, and I figured, what the hell, I'm here.
Right.
It was all right. Well, don't ever do that again. Your call back is tomorrow.
It's great. It was
now
basically
I gotta cut you off. Is this you right here?
There it is. There it is. Look at that. You were a young buck over there.
A young stud.
Here. A youngster. Wow. Unbelievable. I remember that commercial. First of all, it was a very effective.
55 pounds.
The best, that's my left leg raised that. The best thing about that commercial is, I just watched it this morning, is you do a great job in it. So your character, but how about I don't want to say it, not overacting, the overacting of the way they did commercials back then. Like, everybody looks vanilla. Everybody, there is no LGBT. There's just W. It was the W Society. And everybody's like, hey, soldier. It's all those classic. It's amazing how commercials have changed so much. And you give like that little, I just loved it. And I'm thinking, like, God, this guy was raking in checks, you fucker. I was like,
All American boy, man. Let me tell you something. When I booked the commercial, the agent called me and said they looked at 3,000 people.
Oh my God. That's awesome.
Now, I had never been on a plane and I never went anywhere in my life at 18.
Right.
I was just out of high school. So you want to talk about money? Now, here you go.
I just love, because listen, if you're an actor listening to this, this whole Mike and I have had many intimate conversations about the business, but sometimes you just want to hear, here I am, I'm swinging the bat every day, striking out. And when you find out someone hit a home run, you're like, I want to know everything about the home run. Did it fly into the third deck? I want to know what pitch it was. Like, so again, I'm sorry.
Let me ask you, I'll tell you what happened. You let me know where this is in baseball.
Okay.
Now, I went down to the casting office to sign my contracts, and they're going to fly you to California for 3 days and 3 nights.
Ed Figueroa.
And you're going to come home. I had never been on a plane. So I got first class tickets. It was unbelievable.
Look at that. First class.
But before I left, I had to go to this place in New York City and get what they called the high and tight. So they were going to shave my head.
The Army cut.
The Marine Corps cut.
Marine
and
cut.
Of course, you sign when you sign.
Listen to this.
They ask you if you can shave your head.
Wow. I actually had a 7-inch ponytail. I had real long blonde hair.
Oh my God.
So when I got to the location and they cut my hair, I made them put it in a tight ponytail, clip it, and I kept it. It's in my room. I still have the hair. Are you ready?
I keep my hair too, but it's in the bottom of the shower right now.
$5,000 for the haircut.
Wow.
Oh, that is
the fuck up.
That is back in 1984 dollars here at Shea.
Wow.
83, I think.
83, yeah.
So
Okay.
Clip my hair, shave my head, give you $5,000. Now your agent can't touch that money because the money is to say, hey, look, we're taking you out of work. How are you going to work the home type?
Right.
So you give $5,000 for it. And then it's going to be SAG plus 10% plus a bump for whatever this new campaign's going to be.
Right.
So I go to California and I shoot the commercial. I had to go to basic training for a couple hours, so I knew why I was dressed like a Marine. They gave me a sunburn. They put cuts on my hands. It was very detailed. And the makeup artist, I forgot his name. I can't think of it, but he had in his makeup chest the ears for Spock because he was a famous makeup artist and he did all the makeup for Star Trek and the movie Star Trek. Oh, his name was Wesley Dawn, very famous makeup artist. So I got to meet him, and then we go to shoot the commercial. You know, we're not in an airplane. We're in some kind of a fake cylinder.
Right.
They pretty much
real. Looks so real on the commercial.
It's also at a time where they had the Screen Extras Guild. Do you remember?
Right.
Screen Extras Guild.
Yeah.
All the extras on the plane weren't even allowed to talk to me. It was the weirdest thing. I was like, "What? We're humans, aren't we?"
Yeah, wow. I know they had weird rules back. That certainly doesn't go on now for sure. I mean, I talk to extras.
Can't even call them extras anymore.
I couldn't believe I was there. And the other people who were principals, you know, of course, they were getting what I was getting as well. And then 3 months later is when it aired, and the world just shook for me. I couldn't walk down the street without somebody going, Private Zaleski, oh man, we're so glad you're home. I'm like, what?
Yeah, it was a really... Anybody doesn't know the spot, it's basically about a young kid, a soldier. He's coming home and he gets on a plane and everyone's being nice to him, thanking him, blah, blah, blah. And he eats a meal and he's like probably the best meal he's had. At the end, the plane lands and the soldiers completely fell asleep. And the wait stewardess, the whatever you call him now, walks up and says,
flight
"Hey, soldier," flight attendant says, "Hey, you're home." And then you look out the window and you see your. But I always laugh because I know you're from Jersey. I'm like. The excitement of you looking at your home. I'm like, he's probably looking at the Budweiser plant in that Newark airport off Route 1. But it's a wonderful spot. It still works today. If they reshot that today with the modern look, the spot still works about soldiers coming home and getting thanked.
Well, you know what's really great too about it? First of all, looking out the window, you know what I was looking at?
A light
or a wall.
15 people. Cameras and lights.
Right. Hey, no, that's so funny. Yeah. I love that. Well, I'm glad you that was a great start to your career. My God, making those checks. But you couldn't, were you locked in United Airlines? Could you audition for anything else?
Yes. So when they have a thing called a conflict, I couldn't work on any other airline or anything on travel. So the holding fees for 5 years was out of control. And I think in the first year I made $80,000.
That's 19.
And at 19, you're 19, you make 80 grand. I went and bought a house in Belmont.
Unbelievable.
And an IROC.
So you were the complete jerk off mood. You went out and bought an IROC and a house in the Belmont, Jersey Shore, which is awesome. I would have probably done the same thing. I would see back in '83. I was just graduating, just got out of high school. You know what's
funny, Jimmy, and maybe you can relate to this too. I had a hard time getting an agent because they said I sounded like a dummy from New Jersey and my accent was too thick. If you notice in the commercial, you don't hear the accent at all.
Not at all.
Because I know how to act, I'd like to think. So that was the agency who denied me, ended up calling me and saying, why don't you come in? We want to talk to you. And that was J. Michael Bloom.
Did you have to give up? So you didn't pay an agent for that?
I did, yes.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, no tempers.
Joe Jordan, who I never met.
So he just got your check. Oh, that's nuts. Oh man, I love it. I love hearing stories like that.
But the agency signed me for 5 years. They're the ones who told me I was nominated for a Clio Best Male Performer in a TV commercial. I didn't win. I lost to Chuck McCann, who did the Dr. Pepper commercials. But I got to go to Radio City Music Hall.
That's awesome.
I worked with that director at least 20 more times without even auditioning.
Yeah, so you got locked back for those of you scoring at home. There was a time, it's very different now. I had just missed, I didn't get into showbiz till around 89, 90. Back in the late 70s to about 1990, 91, the commercial industry was very different. Spots would air, and they would air for a year or two. But they also didn't allow, and it probably hurt me more than you. They also, as much, my last name was Palumbo, and they wanted that whole white bread kind of soap opera thing. That's how the commercials were until they started to open up the basket, and that allowed the regular guy thing for me. But I know actors that are like 70 years old now. They talk about they book 300, 400, 500 commercials. And I'm like, and how many homes do you own now? Because I would book a commercial and 13 weeks later be gone. But you caught that heyday of commercials, which was lit. And the people that were like, oh, you're just doing commercials? Yeah, fuck you. And I'm driving an IROC. What are you doing? You're doing a shitty play in North Hollywood? Like, come on, give me a break.
You know, the commercial industry at that time, I was 5'7", 160 pounds, blonde hair, blue eyes. So you had a commercial audition pretty much, let's say, every day for the All-American apple pie person.
Right.
And you'd go on auditions and you'd see the same 30 guys every day. Yeah. I knew them all. And you could come into an audition and be like, oh, man, you got that?
Right. Yep. I had the same thing with like 7 actors that audition for stuff. And I see him in the room. I'm like, oh, shit, I got to guard this guy now for 4 quarters. This guy stuff. But I always wonder, they look at me and say, oh, here comes Palumbo. He's a pain in the ass at the plate. But you're right. You definitely get to know your little circle in that world. All right. Well, then, of course, you acted a bunch of stuff, and you're still doing that stuff as well. Now, stand-up. When was the first time you even attempted to do stand-up?
Sunrise Pine Room, Bayonne, New Jersey, 1988.
From downtown Bayonne at the Sunrise Room here, Mike Marino getting involved at the 4:18 mark with a quick 3. So, wait a minute. Bayonne, that's so funny. What was it? One of those nights they had? What year was that?
Open mic? Or like an open mic thing? You just show up?
Probably like 87, 88. I was just doing commercials, and I knew the guy who owned the bar, and they were having an open mic, and the winner gets $50. So I didn't know. I went in there, and I figured, I'm like, give me the microphone. I could do that. Right. And I went up there. I'm like, you know what my mother said the other day? You better take me to the store or you ain't going to have no food tonight. And everybody started laughing. And all I did was talk about my uncle. My uncle with, you son of a buns, you miserable kids. And people just started laughing. Then I won the $50. And I'm like, okay, let's get out
There
of
you
here.
go. That's awesome. I
But
know
then
you caught the tail end. You caught the tail end of the. I didn't get doing stand up until really 97. Started. I was doing sketch comedy heavy, but you know, I was told some of those comedians that started out like 79 to 85, there was stand-up comedy. Stand-up comedy was like pickleball now. Every pizzeria, they put a microphone up. Some of the guys, especially some of the Boston comics I know, they were able to do stand-up 4 or 5 sets every night, 7 days a week. So their learning curve, like in other words, I'm not saying it's just a repetition, but if you do stand up every night for 4 months, you're better than you were week 1. Did you catch a little bit of that, or was it starting to fade? That kind of thing where you had to deal with the douchey comedy club owners.
Nah, I was pretty much starting out at the Comedy Store in the early '90s when stand-up comedy was really on its way out.
Yeah, I remember.
And you didn't think it was coming back,
right?
And then the resurgent, and now you can do whatever you want. You can be on your own. And, I'm doing stand-up 31 years now.
It's unbelievable.
And thank God, because it supplemented my acting career. Then it became a priority. Because in the stand-up world, you can create your own career. You don't have to wait for an audition. You don't have to wait for a booker. You don't have to wait for anybody. Do your own thing. Make a video, throw it up on the internet, and you can be famous in 2 seconds.
Right. It's also a stand-up. You're the writer, director, producer, all in one thing. You go up there, do a set. Nobody. In the old days, they had writers that wrote, but now it's whatever comes out of your brain. Then you also got to in the very 2 questions. In the very beginning, what comedians did you like admire, or you were kind of maybe were just becoming stars as you were like in your rookie season back in the day? Who did you really?
Well, before I even thought I would tell a joke, it would be Rodney Dangerfield. I used to listen to his albums. I used to watch his movies. How could you not laugh at Rodney Dangerfield, the goofball of goofballs, the knucklehead?
So funny.
He was the best. Then Don Rickles. I used to love watching Don Rickles. Who knows? Because of my mother, my family, they watched him, and some older school guys. I can't think of everybody's off the top of my head. And yes, of course, we love Richard Pryor. But when I first started working at the Comedy Store, I mean, I was just blown away by sitting next to Andrew Dice Clay.
Oh, I was going to say Dice Clay.
As far as I'm concerned, he is the ultimate legend, because he was probably, if I'm wrong, the first comedian to play Madison Square Garden.
I was told he was the first comedian to sell out every NBA arena. Think about that. There's 32 arenas. He sold them all out. The other thing about Dice Clay from our generation, of course, watching early Dice Clay videos now is not exactly politically correct, but I put his first hour, that HBO special, when he came out to Whipping Post smoking the cigarette in a black leather jacket, I put that hour up against anybody's. I mean, I'm not so sure the subsequent hours he did, but that first, oh my God, that it influenced me. I just absolutely loved it. I think Dice is great.
Sit in the back of the Comedy Store on a Sunday night at 2:00 in the morning with nobody in the room, me, Wheels Parisi, and a couple other cats watching Dice. And Dice used to do this thing with his arm, woo, bang, goo, bang, goo, bang. And I used to say to Wheels, what the hell is he saying? He's saying goo bucket. I go, a what? He goes, goo bucket.
Goo bucket.
What is a goo bucket?
What does that mean?
He goes, well, what do you think it is? Goo bucket.
Yeah,
I got it.
Oh, I get it. I get it. Oh my God.
How is that even funny? He goes, it's funny to him. You don't care.
Wow. That's I got sunlight coming.
Yeah, Jimmy coming from the heavens right now.
I don't know. Oh, it's coming from the sky. You know what? We don't even do the show this late.
We don't do it this late.
We are learning stuff. Can I scooch over? There you go.
I don't know.
I don't know.
This is the early afternoon.
Yeah, usually we do it at 1:00. Lesson learned right there.
Yeah.
Another guy who I met who's been very kind to me as well. I want to talk a little bit about Bobby Gonzo.
Yeah,
you introduced me to Bobby. I had no idea how legendary Bobby Gonzo was in terms of, I don't know what's the right word, mentoring, guiding. I don't know. Maybe you could come up with a better word for Bobby, but he has guided and helped not only you, some huge comedians. And what talk a little bit about Bobby Gonzo.
I met Gonzo for the first time because a friend of mine told me that he was a talent coordinator for Point Pleasant. What's the biggest club in Point Pleasant on the beach?
Uncle Vinny's?
No.
Baby O's?
Club in general, dance club.
Oh, in Point Pleasant?
Yeah, they call it
Tiki Bar, Martell's.
Tiki Bar, right? So he ran a show there called, it was Yakety Yak's Comedy Club. I think it was inside one of those big places, famous places.
Okay.
They had comedy there. And I went down there and I auditioned for him. And he said, I think you got some chops. And he's been in my life ever since, 32 years. He's the one
great guy
to get in it. But he was a famous comedian himself.
Yes. I didn't realize that because I met him only through you. And he's one of those guys who've been semi-retired for a long time, but he's always got a little toe in the biz. And all of a sudden, one of your shows, you were on, we were BSing before the show, and he just started to chat. I'm like, I had no idea. He was like in the early 70s, 80s. He was like a big headlining, comedian. He was all over the place. I had no idea that. Very awesome.
He was a very well-known comedian. He's done a lot of movies, whether they were A movies or B movies, and he's friends with everybody you can think of.
Right.
And yeah, if you followed his formula to be a comic, you probably would succeed. And I remember back in the day, he used to tell me all the time, one of the biggest problems comedians have is they don't show up, they don't pay attention, and they'll cancel on you at the last minute for something that's not even worth it. And then I found out that is true. So the top 10% comedians that are making great money are actually good business people, because this is business.
Right.
Yeah. It's about telling jokes. You can forget it.
Right. No, I know he was very big on. Matter of fact, he had a gig for me coming up, and I just couldn't do it. And the money wasn't great, but it was because of the money. I just couldn't pull it off. And I don't apologize. Like, Bobby, I know you say take every gig, get better. He's also helped me out with my reel and getting my new reel done and stuff like that. So yeah, Bobby Gonzo is really good.
Let me tell you something. Bob would say all the time, and I do this to this day: show up anyway. Show your face, even if it's not your night. Someone's going to remember that you were there, and you'll get a gig. Now, a couple of weeks ago, he was doing a gig, and there were 2 comedians on the show. I didn't show up to bully anybody. I didn't want to get on stage. I just wanted to say hello to him.
Right.
Well, while I was sitting there, somebody came over to me and said, I'm a really big fan. I didn't know you were going to be here. Can I get a picture with you? And I said, yeah. So you take a picture with the guy and he goes, are you going on? I go, no, I'm not here for that. And then all of a sudden Gonzo goes, you're going to have to do something. I says, okay, I'll host the show. Nice and easy. So I did 5 minutes. I introduced the guy. On my way out of the room, some guy says to me, how much do you charge to do a private party? See?
Right. That's it. You get the gig.
It's all because you showed up. I like that.
That's one thing. I matter of fact, I made a commitment to another buddy of mine who's up and coming with stand up. That right after I get back from Florida, I'm gonna start going in. It's been a while since I went to the comic strip. I've been to stand up New York, but I got to start. I haven't been to the new Dangerfields there. I haven't been to the comic strip in years. I'm going to spend a couple of nights busting balls. I miss the city. I want to see what the kids are doing out there. Because I had a good experience at Stand Up New York where these young kids, you think they're all better than you because they're young and good looking. And then I go up there, I look like Charles Durning, and I'm 3 for 4 on the day. So maybe I'll go in with you one night. We'll bust ball.
It's not really about any age range. How fast can you be funny?
Right. Yeah.
I was a part of the whole Paisan Con, and they had some comedians doing
Paisan Con.
Yeah, how was that?
I love that.
How was that?
Great. Had a ball. I sold almost $1,000 worth of T-shirts. I was having a blast.
Oh my God! I got a few. A few people texted me and said, Jimmy, how come you're not at the Paisan.com? I'm like, nobody asked me. I'm Italian, but
it's brand new. It's going to get bigger. Hopefully, it'll go.
Where was that held, Mike?
In Fairfield.
Doubletree Hotel in Fairfield, New Jersey.
Right.
There was
20 minutes away
there, and I got to meet everybody and hang out with everybody. And you know what was great for me is you're seeing all these stars, and they're saying to me, "Oh, Mike, man, your comedy's so great." I'm like, "You know me?
That's
You
great.
know me?
Well, you're famous for the make
America Italian again.
Make America Italian again, which is great.
So make that series, baby."
Let me ask you another one. What do you think the difference is? Well, we kind of covered it, but not really. What do you think the real differences are between comedy today, last 2 or 3 years, and the comedy, say, in 1990, 95?
Well, in the 90s, you didn't have to worry about anything you said. That's for damn sure.
Right.
You were never afraid of offending anybody. You kind of offended people.
That was the goal, right?
Yeah.
Sort of. I mean, wow. And now, luckily for me, I was never an insult comic anyway. And I just make my show about me. So if you're offended by what goes on in my life, well, there's nothing I can do to help you. Then you really are nuts.
Now,
but, you know, what's the big deal?
The other thing is like social media. I know you're great at social media. You're great at always posting when you're doing shows and all this.
Yeah, I still get texts.
Yeah. It works. Whatever. I know you have a person doing that, and plus you're also relentless yourself. What are your thoughts on social media and comics and stuff like that? I have a few opinions of it, but I'm curious.
Maybe social media has helped guys like myself more than I could have helped myself if it didn't exist.
Right.
What it's doing for other people, I think, is a scam, because I've been seeing a lot of my jokes on the internet being told by people who do not do stand-up, and they think it's not that big of a deal. What's that big of a deal? I'm like, well, because it's called copyright. Right. You know, I own the phrase "Make America Italian Again." I own it.
Oh,
if
wow.
I go up doing TV commercials, you think I'm not going to own what I say? I'm pretty smart. So when a company came at me and said, you know, we'd like to make T-shirts that say "Make America Italian Again," I says, great. I'll send you a contract where to send the residual check. I own that.
Right.
I own
good business move.
Family. I own Live from My Mother's Basement. I own Reconstructing Jersey. You know, you have to buy and purchase everything you say, because someone's going to come and take it. So when you see the young kids take your jokes and they put them on the internet, I'll call them. I'll call them on the phone. I'll be like, I'll come to your house. You don't realize
that is officially making America Italian again, by the way.
They turns out your hand in your pocket. If somebody else stole from you, you'd call the police.
Right. Yep.
I'm the cop. Here I come.
Of course, I own a ton of things. I own Getting Involved here. I own Che New. I own From the Omni in Atlanta, and they bring in revenues up to $0 a year on that stupid phrase. Like the only guy who pays me residuals is Dave Sturcio, because he'll be at Thanksgiving dinner and all of a sudden he'll just say, "Oh, Getting Involved here," and he's like, "Oh my God, I'm shouting out Jimmy Palumbo lines." That's great that you own all that shit. Jimmy is.
I don't make a lot of money off social media. I do okay. I'd like to say enough to keep going. I make most of my money in the sponsorships, plus I tour. So I take the sponsorships with me on tour. And Tatiana Blueshell, who produces my show, Live from My Mother's Basement, does my social media.
What's her name? Tatiana Blueshell? That sounds like a power forward on the Raptors.
She's looking for another. Is she looking for another client? I'm looking to get out of Jimmy's deal.
Yeah.
She's been working with me for 16 years. And
wow, that's great.
Series, she produces and everything. It's good to have a team that knows how to do what you don't.
My team is the best. I got the best team. I got Chop Sports Media and me. I got Dave.
It's all you need, baby. It's all you need.
We used to have Chris Gucci, but he tore his ACL, hasn't been seen since. So are you when's your next you're in town for a little bit? How long are you in town for?
I'm here in New Jersey until Thursday. Thursday, I'm going to Fort Lauderdale. One show, Fort Lauderdale. One show, St. Petersburg.
Oh, I'm going to be that's on the West Coast. I'm going to be in Sarasota all week. How far is that from St. Petersburg?
Really? You're going to Florida?
Tomorrow, Sarasota.
No kidding. Where you perform?
By that McCurdy. I was going to try to get a set at that McCurdy's Theater.
Try
it. A separate show is coming in for the week. I tried to get in touch with the guy on the internet, but the McCurdy's, am I saying it right? McCurdy's, they called me back and said, we're really not doing the shows. It's someone else is producing a show that week, so I'm kind of screwed.
An outside producer. I tell a lot of people all the time, produce your own show.
Right.
Find a place, put up your own show, make your own money, and leave.
Just told Jimmy that 2 days ago.
If you're going to keep on waiting for somebody to put you in a show, you might as well just retire.
Right. I know.
I always do my own.
I produce shows here for a bunch of charities, and that's where I make a decent buck doing that. Can't afford your fat ass anymore, piece of shit. You were too much. Tell Tatiana I screwed you over by but some
outpricing Jimmy
Palumbo.
Palumbo.
Sometimes I always think of you first, but sometimes the money's just not there. And I'm like,
in the wrestling world, we call that doing it for a brother rate. So maybe one day Michael's just like,
Mike's done shows for me.
Oh yeah,
well below his rate. We all have.
There's always a time to help your friends, man. Help your friends.
And also, I don't know a comedian. We all want to get a certain buck, but just all the comedians I know, all you got to do is start talking about shitty pay gigs, and you're talking for 4 hours. It's part of the lifestyle. You want to get your money, but sometimes I'm sure it happens to even the biggest comedians. Certain shows you get overpaid, and other shows you don't get paid.
I'll ask you both this question, okay? What would you do in this situation? A friend of mine asked me to go do a charity, and he said he doesn't have any money, but he would give me $200. And I says, well, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to do the charity, but you're going to take the $200 and give it to the charity. Don't let anybody find out that you were going to pay me $200 because I'll never make my money again.
Right.
You didn't pay me. I came for free just to help out. And don't worry. Just say, Mike did me a favor. Well, when the show was over, someone came over to me and said, how much do you charge to show up at a birthday party? I says, you know what, miss? I don't do those type of things. You can't afford me. I'm doing this guy a favor. And she goes, but it's a Saturday night in June. I go, Saturday night's where I make most of my money. I go, what did you think I was going to show up to your birthday party for? Now I'm thinking she's going to say $300. She goes, if you came to my birthday party, I'd give you $2,000. I go, you know what? I'm going to be off on that night. Okay.
Cut to you going, happy birthday. Everybody here at Shay.
Right. I'm singing that multiple times.
Look what happened.
Right.
Look
I know. Yep. I agree with you. It's like work begets work. It's just the way it is. I just got an email from a guy who did a short film in New Hampshire 15 years ago. He's like, hey, Jimmy, I'm working on something. I'm like, maybe it'll leave. Listen, that's the way. Listen, that show Entourage, you have your connections, your entourage, your people. Well, I always tell rookies, not even in showbiz, that your contacts all suck right now. So if you have 20 people together at an acting class, let's say, everybody sucks. But 5 years from now, only maybe 11 suck. And then 20 years later, 4 of them are big time people and you're tight with them because they remember you from the beginning. And then all of a sudden it takes time for your contacts to grow up and get shit done. And I've been blessed by that a million times. I think I met you. Did I meet you through Bob Stewart?
Yes.
In LA? That's right, Bobby, my boy. He's in Phoenix right now, Arizona. I don't know if you knew that.
I thought he moved to Hawaii.
Hawaii. Then he moved. He owns a florist shop and runs it with his family in Phoenix, Arizona. He does great work too. I have some friends in Phoenix. I send them flowers from Bobby. Well, Burbank. Remember Burbank? That's when I first met you.
Yeah, he had a wife and 2 kids, and then he disappeared.
Yeah. He disappeared, but he got married again. He's got more kids, and he's doing fine. But Bob is always.
Where's his first 2 kids and his ex-wife?
They live in Jersey, and and they're doing great. The son,
riveting shit, by the way.
I know. And Dave Sturgeon, this is what happens to me. Listen, I'm going to tell anybody listening to this that sometimes when you're on the phone with an old buddy of yours,
I know. It feels like a phone call.
It feels like a phone call. So, but
this is the shit that people pay the Patreon for. Jim. You know that.
Listen,
you know what's so funny? I was wondering what happened to this guy, and lo and behold, episode 161, I found out with Mike Marino.
It's totally my fault because I'm talking to Mike By the way, Mike, I know you recently just lost your dad.
For a minute, I just felt like I was just on a phone call.
I know, but
how you been?
But that's the way I do my show here. What am I going to do? Act like I'm on a Tonight Show with you? That's not how it rolls. Oh, that's another thing. You were a character actor on the Tonight Show for 20 years. You know that?
Oh, wow.
When they do those sketches and everything out of the audience, and I've seen you on there a few times.
I recently, like I said, I sent home the archives. I've been on the Tonight Show so many times it would make you sick.
Wow. You get residuals on that? I guess not. They don't air them
anymore.
anymore.
No, you did. You did for a while. It was AFTRA.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Now, of course, we used to talk about gigs and booze and women. Now we're like, how's your prostate? And did you get your pension yet? You get your...
I can't pee, Jimmy. I can't pee.
Once you turn 55, you become your parents, which, by the way, sorry about your dad.
Here's how I do my podcast. Good evening. Welcome.
By the way, now Mike has his own podcast, live from my mother's basement. And Dave, I got to get you.
I've seen it. First
of all, Mike is a 90-year-old man, because what he keeps in that basement from his parents and grandparents is mind-boggling. Like, he's got shit in there. Best part of that whole basement to me, the bar is like something right out of Central Casting. But he has a refrigerator in the corner. It's one of those old, what's the brand again?
1950s.
Frigidaire, one of those. General Electric with the light at top of the thing. It's like, and it looks like it's going to break any second. He's like, no, I never had a problem with it. I'm like, this old shit keeps on running. I love that thing. I was like going through the ice cube trays.
I have a brand new camera to do TikToks. Can I show it to you?
Sure. Absolutely. This will be great. I tell you what, Jimmy, that phone call bit, it's just one of those things where you're like, hey, so how's your old man? How's you doing? Hey, what are you doing? How's the weather out there? The fuck is that?
Look at that.
Oh my God.
Now was that your parents' camera? Oh my God. That's when you had to crank it, right?
No, I don't know how you do this one.
Oh my God.
That's my best joke when you hand somebody a phone, you're like, can you take a picture for me? And they're like,
That's so great. I love it. He's got all kinds of, and a big thing, a kitchen table that's down in the basement so you can eat down there. I love it. Well, listen, Mike, I appreciate you coming on. What do you got coming on? You got shows you got beyond this weekend. Where are you? I guess go to MikeMarino.com.
MikeMarino.net.
.net. Okay. Who the hell's got MikeMarino.com?
Somebody
it's cheaper.
Before me.
Did you try to buy it off him so the links all together?
Nah, MikeMarino.net's fine. And now social media, everything's at Mike Marino Live.
Right. Okay. And you're doing shows. Well, are you going to be anywhere this summer down the Jersey Shore? Are you doing any gigs? I know you're going to be at LBI.
Point Pleasant, LBI, Asbury Park, Atlantic City, Brigantine.
Oh, nice. I'm going to be in Brigantine in July. I have to look at your schedule. I get.
Who are you playing?
No, I'm going for my daughter's dance competition. I'm the guy. Listen, I'm the guy. I'm the guy who you know what?
Oh,
I pride myself in. I don't do. I would do stand up every night if I could. Because when you do stand up in the city now, it's really cool, but you lose $55 a night doing it because you got to pay the park, got to pay the gas. I would do stand up every night if I didn't have to drive more than an hour and a half and go and bust balls, get laughs and be home by 11 o'clock. I might be a drunk too by having a couple of cocktails, but I don't do it nearly enough as I should. I see these comics. I'm like, you know what? I think I can guard him. I'm just as good. And then you see other people and you're like, ooh, I'm not as good as that cat right there. So anyway, all right, go to MikeMarino.net and also Mike Marino Live. Google them, check them out. Thanks for coming on. I love that we're just talking like we're sitting at a coffee shop, 1978.
Hey, call me later.
Yeah, call me later. Right.
What's the point? You just covered it all right here.
I know. I no reason to call you. We just talked about it.
Yeah.
All right, Mike. Thanks so much. And Dave's going to send you a clip if you want to post it on your social media. We'd really appreciate that.
Yeah, I cut them all up. We'll be good.
He cuts them up. He'll send you something that you can throw up, whatever. We'll figure out a funny part or something.
Okay.
And that's it. And I'm glad your prostate's doing okay. And I'll see you at the doctor's office next week.
Take care, Mike.
All right, we'll see you, Mikey.
Bye.
All right, Mike Marino Live getting involved here. The other thing, I got to mention a couple. Speaking of prostate,
he's like, no. Best part is like, Oh yeah, I'm gonna be there. Oh yeah, where are you playing? Nah, my daughter's just dancing.
It's true.
Fucking great. Oh boy.
So of course I had to go to a doctor's appointment this morning. I have
boy.
scheduled my colonoscopy for May 29th.
Oh boy.
I'm thinking about doing the
Memorial Day weekend. Why not?
It's Wednesday. Wednesday after.
Oh, okay.
My birthday's on the 26th.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm thinking I would love to do a live once I start drinking that stuff that makes you go. Maybe we'll do the podcast live as Jimmy from downtown from his toilet bowl.
Yeah.
I got to go do that. I got to take care of business there. I'm also going down to Florida, to Sarasota, to some place with my daughter and her friends. She has some fun there.
How's the knee? Knee working out good? The knee?
She's getting better now. She missed last week was a competition she missed. It looks like the one in May. Like I'm a little bit of a jerk with the rehab people. Now I'm like, I'm treating it like she's Aaron Rodgers and like, hey,
I was just gonna say that.
No. In other words, what happens is it's all shits and giggles, and it's like, hey, May 12th, like we have a game. Like I need to know. And then she's
starting or not?
Right, that's what I want to know. And then they say like, oh well, things take time. Every knee is different. I'm like, no. Act like Kyle has got money on this. Like, is she going? That's going to move the spread around.
Can she play?
And then
can she play?
And then someone said to me, oh, because we still have to pay for this dance, right? And someone's like, oh, well, when she gets right back into it, I feel bad. She has to like the person that has been doing the dance goes to the bench. And I'm like, oh, do you feel bad? I'm like, no, tell that family to pay my bill for the last 4 months. And then I'll say, Nat, you're done for the year. You're out.
Yeah. We're going to put you on season-ending IR. We'll be back in the fall.
I was kidding around with the dad. I know the dad of the girl, and I'm like, no. As soon as my daughter can play, she's going into the lineup. Like, and he was like, yeah, my daughter's doing pretty good in the dance. I'm like, oh, it has nothing to do with talent. I was like, I don't care. I don't care if your daughter is 21 for 24 and 3 touchdowns. My daughter is going right in behind center right away. But she looks like she'll be back, and we got the big nationals in July. Nice. I feel bad for my daughter. She really this knee thing. It sucks when she loves to dance but I think now she's really starting to realize that, hey, I got to really push the rehab. And I'm not very as friendly with the rehab guys as I was in the first 2 months. I'm like, hey guys, I want my daughter to be like sweating. We're gonna
start losing some endorsements if you don't hurry the fuck up.
Like, you ever see like those Rocky videos and all those those videos where NFL films and shit? Like I need my daughter back. In other news, of course, here at Shay, played pickleball Friday night at a very high level at this event where the guy, I screwed him over by not showing up once because I thought it was just open play and I couldn't make it. And it turns out I was part of this roster of 48 people. And this guy is, so the guy gave me some shit. I'm not going to mention his name. The guy gave me some shit. He sent me a text that like, if it was a text, if you got a text like this, you would have been like, I'm driving to your house and my Dodge Ram's going to be in your living room. And I was like, who's this guy? You don't text strangers like this, So I got there and he puts me on court one. And it's one of those things that you win, you go to the right, you lose, you go to the left. And at the end of the night, the good players are on one side of the courts. And he puts me up against the best player there, this kid Harrison, and another really good partner, me and this other guy. And he was definitely like, I'm going to throw Jimmy to the wolves. Like, I'm going to suit him up with Michael Jordan and LeBron game one. And this little 16-year-old kid, Harrison, I shouldn't say his name, but I guess I will. He's really awesome. But he was like cocky to me. Like they beat us 11-3, 11-2. But I was just getting warmed up. And all of a sudden I was like, Jimmy, the next court, it's the guy who sent me the shitty text. And he's like, we're going to the U.S. Open. We're going to the U.S. Open to play. And I'm like, U.S. Open for pickleball? What are you, nuts? I'm like, I kept on saying it. I was like, yeah, well, I'm going to the Edison Open to do my pickleball. And let me tell you something.
Warren Park.
Dude, let me tell you something. Palumbo was locked in total domination, smoked them. And the rest of the night, I stood on the good courts, and I was waiting for round 2 at Harrison because I was warmed up now. But you play straight for 2 hours. I was playing the best pickleball of my life at a highest level I think I've ever played. But the last 20 minutes, I was definitely looking to the dugout. Catcher came to the mound. I'm like, you got, but you're not allowed to leave the court. I'm looking over like, you okay? No. I was pitching underhand.
I threw all she has. I'm good. I'm done.
I was sweating. I was like a mess. I was breathing heavy. I was like a beached whale at the end of it. But I let that little crowd know that Palumbo's back in the pickleball world. May 11th, I'm still running that marathon / 5K, depending on how you look at it. To me, it's a marathon. And what else? That's it. We had a good show. Go Knicks. Next time we do the Knicks, they play next weekend.
I don't even know when the playoffs are. The play-in stuff has to happen first. So the Knicks will probably start their playoff season probably next weekend. So this weekend coming up.
I'm going to predict the Knicks win 2 rounds of the playoffs.
I mean, they haven't gone to the final since 2000.
I think the Knicks are going to the finals. That's my prediction.
Whoa,
I don't know.
Hot take.
No, the Eastern Conference finals.
Okay. Listen, we haven't gotten there in a while, too.
Celtics have lost 4 games. Anyway, all right. That's it.
Giancarlo
Stanton with a rope last night. If everybody saw it, it was fielded cleanly by the third baseman.
Yeah.
How funny was that? You had texted me, oh, you can make up for it. And then every now and then during games, Dave and I texted. We always kid around about Stanton. He looks terrible at the plate a lot. And you were like, he can redeem himself right now. And then all of a sudden he had a dribbler to third, but he legged it up. Again, Cliff Johnson, you have to watch this video. What's it called? But not Cliff Johnson.
Not Cliff Johnson.
Yeah, Google not Cliff Johnson. You know what? Every week I'm going to write that as part of our show. I'm going to get like views up on that. If you don't think that's funny, then you know what? Don't watch my show then. Because if you don't think that's funny, nothing I say is funny. Thank you, Mike Marino. Thank you, Dave Sturcio. Thanks to Chris Gucci. He's part of the FBI. What do you call that? Witness protection program. But we'll find him eventually. All right, that's it. We'll see you, everybody. God bless.